Hey guys, welcome back to the video. Today we're starting to do something a little bit different. Today we're going to be looking at and seeing if Toxapex is actually a good Pokemon. Let's go ahead and look at this real quick. So Toxapex, let's go look at the stats. Stats not so good. 50 HP base, we have 63, but where Toxapex's strengths are is his defense. So we have 152 base stat of defense and 142 base stat of special defense. Now again, if we look at his other stats, special attack, not so good, speed, not so good. So all around, he's not good stat wise, but he is tanky. He's very tanky. And one thing I recommend putting on him is using the calm nature. So the calm nature, you basically get plus special defense but minus attack. Basically, if you see that attack, there's nothing much you're gonna be doing with that. You're not, in all these move sets, I don't have any attack-based moves because basically Toxapex, the goal is not to attack with him. So if you look up here, I have a Black Sludge, and basically what Black Sludge does is every turn the holder basically gets 1/16 of max HP. Okay, so basically if it's a poison type, which Toxapex is, he'll keep getting HP. So that's one beneficial item to use on your poison types, not just Toxapex, but every other poison type. I try and use them I use that on a lot of poison types, basically. And then Merciless. So if you go look at the abilities, Toxapex's main abilities are Merciless, which is the Pokemon's attack or critical hit if the target is poisoned. And then there's Limber. This Pokemon cannot be paralyzed, getting the ability while paralyzed cures it. And then Regenerator, which is his hidden ability. This Pokemon restores 1/3 of its maximum HP rounded down when switched out. So these are all really good abilities. I personally recommend Merciless. Merciless is a great setup for this Pokemon. I mean, basically all attacks are critical hits if the target is poisoned. And so that leads right into our moveset. Now basically my recommended moveset, if you want to have a really good Toxapex, is use Recover. So, you know, make him like a really beefy, and a good cheese strat guy. So with his high defense and high special defense, but Recover, you can take hits, and when your HP gets low, you can just recover, and then you get half your HP back, and just keep on going. And then plus with the extra Black Sludge added to that, you're gonna be gaining a lot of HP. It's gonna be very annoying for your opponents to take down. Now, another thing is I highly recommend using Venoshock. The Venoshock, it doubles the power of the move if the target is poisoned. It has 16 PP, so it's a pretty usable move. You can use it multiple times, and the base power is 65 with 100% accuracy. Now, if you think about that, if the opponent is poisoned, 65 basically turns into 130. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but that is immensely powerful. I mean, let's look up Giga Impact real quick. If we look up Giga Impact, which is illegal. Oh, come on. Yeah, Giga Impact does 150. It has 90 HP at 8. This is almost equivalent to the power of Giga Impact. Let's look up Boom Blast, Boom Burst. Boom Burst does 140. This Venoshock is on the level of those two moves, just about. And that's where these two moves come in: Toxic Spikes and Toxic. Now with Toxic Spikes, basically you throw spikes on the ground of your opponent, and basically whenever your opponent switches their Pokemon around, they're going to switch into a poison spiked infested field. And when you double it, it gets even harder. You can use up to 32 times, so you just keep laying this stuff out, and they get poisoned, which leads into your Venoshock, which is 130 attack. Now, granted, your special attack is not that great, not good at all. Now, if you're fine with the defense, I'm pretty sure you can go in and you can. There might be, I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but yeah, those are Modest. Modest would be a good one. You don't have any attack-based moves, so another good nature would be Modest, so you get a plus special attack. It might help a little bit, but I mean, I recommend using Calm. just to raise that special defense a little bit more. And then Toxic. So if all else fails and you're in the mix of it, just straight up having the ability to target, like, Toxic your Pokemon, or Toxic the opponent's Pokemon and just poison them is a very useful move. And as I say, poison types can't miss. So right here it has 90% accuracy. That for Toxapex is 100% accuracy. And of course, there's other typings that can other Pokemon that can learn Toxic and use it. But so like a Grass type, if you try to learn Toxic, it has a 90% accuracy. But see, right, poison types cannot miss, so it's very useful. Now I'm going to lead into my next example right here. Now here's the other kind of setup. It has the same exact move set, except right here, as I said, you could also use Modest if you want to raise your special attack instead of your defenses. But I personally recommend raising your defenses. Right here, Bold is the nature that raises your defense instead of your special defense, and it lowers your attack because, again, you do not need attack for Toxapex. Now if we look over here, the regeneration ability I've already gone over a little bit, but yes, it restores your maximum HP. So if you don't want to really keep Toxapex in there, so like you jump in, use Toxic Spikes, and then you just want to jump out as someone else, maybe into another poison type, or maybe like a Gengar with Hex. That's actually my setup right now in Pokemon Sword. I have a Gengar, and he has Hex, and Hypnosis and Dream Eater. He's super OP. And then I have a Toxapex, and I just switch them out. But like Regenerator is really good because you just again with the recover ability, and let's say you add in that black sludge, it works really well. And then right here, another good item I'd recommend is using a poison barb. So then the holder's poison type attacks do 1.2% more power, and that's really useful for a very low attack and special attack Pokemon such as Toxapex. So every little bit of attack helps. So sorry, I'm a little bit sick today, guys. But basically, if you want to go for just wanted to raise the attack as high as you could, I'd go for the Modest type or the Modest nature, and then use a Poison Barb, and then you can get your Venoshock up to a pretty good attack stat. It'll work pretty well. Okay, what else was I gonna go over? Yeah, so I get the bulb. Now if we move on to my third and fourth example, right here are just we're not gonna work too much about the items and the abilities and the natures and everything. We're gonna work more of the move set. So these two first examples, these are like this is my recommended move set. If you want to use Toxapex, this is the personal one I use. But then again, you have to take into account that Toxapex is also a water type. So what you could do is, instead of having Toxic Spikes, you could use Scald. Scald does 80% damage and it's 100 or 80 damage, and it's 100% accuracy. And pretty decent PP value. Just has 24. And then with that 30% chance to burn, it's pretty good. Not gonna lie. Now I also recommend using Toxic, so then you can also throw in the Venoshock. But you could very easily use Toxic Spikes right here. It's kind of like, just depends on your personal preference, like what you want to do. But if you also wanted to have that water type ability in there, you could use Scald, and you could use Scald. You could have Scald, and I think he learns at a pretty low level. You could get it pretty easily. And then we're gonna move on to the fourth one. Right here, I also put in Hex. So let's say you don't want to switch in or anything like that, another good move to have is Hex. This is my least favorite set, my least favorite move set right here with Hex, Toxic, Scald, and Recover. I would highly recommend using this one, but right here, if you don't really want to use Venoshock, one thing I recommend is using Scald and Toxic, so you poison them, or you can use the 30% chance of burn, and you get that burn. So either way, you can attack and get the burn. You can use Hex the next turn and still do a power of 130. But then again, the difference between Hex and Venoshock is that Hex won't have that type advantage. So with Hex and with Venoshock, since Toxapex is a poison type, Venoshock does a little bit more damage because it's the same type as the Pokemon using it. X doesn't necessarily have that because it's a ghost type move, but that's always a route to go. Recover, as you notice, I have recover in each one of these. Recovers is a really good move to have. Toxapex is really good, really meant to be tanky, and that's just the way I see him. He's a tank. He's meant to just hold out for a little bit, the way for you to settle on and, like, you know, just get those stats. What is it? Use those poison and burn, just to affect your opponent and really annoy them. So my conclusion with Toxapex is he a good Pokemon to use? Most definitely. I mean, with his low stat values, he's probably not going to be very good competitively, but he's very. I personally love him, and I personally think he can be very useful in a battle situation. He's not going to be on the full front attack. So if you're left and all your Pokemon are fainted and the only one you have is Toxapex, I don't see you winning that battle. But Toxapex is a really good support Pokemon. He's very annoying and can do a lot of damage for your other high level Pokemon and better Pokemon to just clean up. So in conclusion, I'm going to say that this set is the best set to use with Toxapex. Again, with the calm, bold, or modest nature, doesn't really matter, it's personal preference. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe. Tell me in the comments below what Pokemon you want me to go review next, and make sure to check out the other videos. So y'all have a good one. Alright, goodbye.